Welcome, everyone. I'm Cornell Cruz Jr., Executive Director of the Community Reinvestment Alliance of Florida, and welcome to the Just Economy podcast, building a just economy, $1, one vote at a time. We are a statewide organization. The Community Reinvestment Alliance of Florida is a statewide organization, membership organization, a 501(c)(3). We ensure that the Community Reinvestment Act partnership, collaboration, and investment with the financial institutions is adhered to. So we build collaborations, we build partnerships, and encourage the financial institutions to commit even more funding and reinvestment to our communities. We have 4 focus areas. Those 4 focus areas include education, visibility, advocacy, and financial growth. Those four areas are a priority for the Community Reinvestment Alliance of Florida. We look forward to serving the community and increasing our investment, increasing community investment, increasing government investment, increasing financial institution investment, and increasing community investment in the needs of the community and the needs of our state. We look forward to working with all the organizations that we are partnered with and are members of our organization. One big thing is Summit 24 is coming. The 1st of May in 2024, we'll be doing our annual summit. We look forward to seeing everyone there. Something of a caveat this year. So this year will be our last year in South Florida. As you know, we are a statewide organization. We'll be moving to Orlando to conduct that summit. Statewide, you got to be in the middle of the state so everybody can attend. So we'll be looking forward to doing that in 2025. But 2024 is just around the corner. We'll have, as usual, great panels, great guest speakers, and the networking and the mixing with government, community advocates, the financial institutions is paramount in that particular summit and conference. And we look forward to seeing everyone there. So today, we have the brand new CEO of Catalyst Miami, Zelalem Adefris. I always mess it up. We're going to welcome her today, but before we get to Zelalem and talk about the great work she's doing at Catalyst Miami. Catalyst Miami is very near and dear to my heart. If you look up the Catalyst of Miami history, the mayor of Miami, the mayor of the city, the mayor of Miami-Dade County, Daniela Levine Cava, her honor, is the founder of Catalyst Miami, and it is because of her that I have so much interest in the community and have been serving on boards and chairing boards and being a part of the community. It's because of her that I am where I am right now as far as getting involved with the community. And she started a great organization. She moved on, but the new CEO is fantastic. I served on that board, and the choice of Zelalem as being the new CEO was the best choice ever, I think, that Catalyst Miami could have made. She's young, vibrant, has a lot of passion, and she's calm. I can honestly say I've never seen Zelalem upset, although I'm sure she goes through it like the rest of us do. But I've never seen her upset, and she attacks problems with a calmness that I don't have. So it's good that we have her. And welcome, Zelalem.
Oh, thank you so much, Cornell.
We definitely appreciate you coming. One question I always ask when we start off is this: a little of your personal history. How did you get here?
So I think my interest in social justice work really stems from how and where I grew up. So I grew up actually in rural suburban Minnesota, primarily white community. I'm African American. My dad's an immigrant from Ethiopia. And so I experienced a lot of racism myself, my family, and then also to other cultures. And so that really sparked my curiosity as to why is this a thing in this country? Like, why are there so many like material inequities, and like what could I do to address those issues? So I found, make a long story short, like my path through interest in health disparities and then environmental work, like how the environment, something all around us, impacts our health, and how it impacts the health of Black folks in the U.S. and Hispanic folks in the U.S. disproportionately than whites. And so, yeah, I basically did a master's degree in global environmental health. I think it's ridiculous that our communities are literally poisoned on purpose. Like in higher asthma rates.
That's what you do.
Yeah, that's something is just like genetically, that's totally not the case at all. And so anyways, after grad school, I was in Atlanta at the time. I was looking for jobs to really like focus in on this issue. And I found Catalyst Miami almost 7.5 years ago now. And I came on as their climate justice program manager. And we've had a relationship for almost that whole 7.5 years and still working together today.
Wow, has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
Time flies, as much as I hate to say that. So your background and your interest is a perfect fit for Catalyst Miami. So tell us a little bit more about Catalyst Miami and its mission.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Catalyst Miami, our formal mission, brand spanking new, is that we build power with frontline communities throughout Miami-Dade County to collectively advance justice and achieve shared prosperity. So at Catalyst, that's a big mission, and we do it in a few ways. We do direct services that are free to community members, such as like from healthcare to financial coaching to taxes, which you can volunteer to be a tax volunteer. We do policy advocacy and community organizing, through which I know Cornell so well, on all issues that intersect, that like really impact Miami-Dade County community members. So housing, climate justice, healthcare access, economic justice. And then we also, our newest programs are small business support, and then worker cooperative development. And so,
Okay, so I'm very interested in the worker. I'm more interested in all of it, but the worker cooperative. How is it? What is that program about?
Yeah, so I think we know that like micro businesses and small businesses are really the lifeblood of Miami-Dade County, but it's really hard, right? If you're an independent small business owner, it's really hard to compete in America in general too. And so the idea is, and this is not a new idea, it's like a very popular concept across the world and the country, but is to bring together individual folks to come together to create one business together. So for example, which gives you a lot more legal power and a lot more, there are some economic advantages as well. So for example, if you have like, 7 separate people working on house cleaning, for example, it might be easier to come together, form one business where you all own the means of production.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then you could bulk buy sorts of things and stuff like that.
Okay, that's an interesting concept and innovative. I think the word innovative is thrown around quite a bit, and very few people execute it. But I think that's a new turn to an old idea. My question would be: Is it hard to get the small business, those folks, to come together? Has that been a challenge?
No, I mean, we launched the program, I think, in 2020, so it's fairly new. We do these workshops where folks can come together and kind of learn what a worker cooperative is all about. We've started now targeting them towards different industries. So the last one we did was domestic workers in partnership with the Miami Workers Center. And then once folks learn about the issue, if they're interested, then we bring them through incubation. And we have, I think every time we run those workshops, we have more and more businesses interested, and then we work with you one-on-one to build out what it is.
So there's some guidance and technical assistance involved. You guys are not just leaving them out, and I think that's important for the social impact organizations. You'll hear me refer to nonprofits as social impact organizations because I really do not like the term nonprofits. That is a designation for fund as far as funding is concerned, or a bank designation. What the organization, these so-called nonprofits, do really is social impact, and because they impact society, and that's their main mission. And so you'll hear me refer to the nonprofits organizations as social impact quite a bit. So that has a great social impact, especially in in an area like South Florida where 67% of our businesses are small, 62% of those have 10 employees or less. So not only bringing them together so they're not competing against each other, but employing them to learn how to work together, because I'm sure that's got to be probably one of the biggest challenges, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the exciting things too is like kind of so this is the Just Economy podcast, right?
Yes.
So we kind of know our economy hasn't really worked for most of us in the United States, and I think part of that is because profit is the number one thing that we chase above all else. And so people, working conditions is secondary, the environment and the place and how we honor, the neighborhood and the city that we're in is probably fourth or fifth or maybe at the bottom of the list. And so an exciting thing about worker cooperatives is you can come together and really define how we're going to chase our profit and be as successful as possible, how we're going to, our workers are our owners. So how are we going to treat ourselves and in the best way possible? And then how are we going to honor our environment? So I think that's exciting too, because that's going to be critical in our economy going forward if we want to survive as a city, basically.
Sure. I think that's all a part of building a just economy. I don't think, and I'm not asking or demanding that someone give us anything. I think what I'm demanding is, and I accept nothing less, what I'm demanding is a fair shot and to make it equal for everyone. That's what being just means, that everyone has the same shot and everybody has a fair and equal opportunity in order to succeed. So that sounds like a great program. So one of your several programs, especially concerning community advocacy and getting the community involved, is your HEAL program. So tell us a little bit about your HEAL program.
Yeah, so we do grassroots leadership training programs at Catalyst. Grassroots, meaning it's open to everyone. They're free programs. We offer them in the evenings. Now we offer them virtually too. We have subsequent simultaneous youth programs in case you have young people in your family that are interested in learning alongside you. Anyways, like the HEAL program is our housing justice version of that. And so I believe we expanded it. I think it's a 7 to 8 week program about why and how we got into this mess of a lack of unaffordable housing in South Florida, what we can do about it, and how to build up our advocacy skills and organize with our neighborhoods together.
So this is what's so important about Catalyst Miami, and I don't think there's another organization that I know of statewide that actually teaches advocacy and teaches community advocacy and shows us the power that we have in our communities. That's important. I think that communities have, especially those who have been stepped on for years and years and years and are low to moderate income and think they have no power, don't realize how much power that they do have. And I think your organization is doing that in a great way.
Thank you.
It can't be easy. Folks have to work. They have children they have to take care of, but you have mastered how to solve that problem, right?
Yeah.
So elaborate a little bit on how you guys are doing that.
Well, I think too, I'm always impressed that with everything people have going on, they choose in their free time to educate themselves to better their neighborhoods and their community. Miami is full, and South Florida is full of people who care, which is a total misconception of our region. And I see that in every HEAL cohort, every program that we have. I can't believe my eyes how many people care. I think in the past 7 years, we've had 700 to 800 graduates of our various programs. I mean, that's a small section of our programs. So, but yeah, like, so when they're in person, we offer transportation assistance, food. Like I said, there's simultaneous youth programs. I think we find youth like the greatest motivator of the parents actually to continue the programs as well. Because if maybe it's hard for you to make the decision with everything in your life, but your kids, if they love it and they're learning, of course, that's like a huge motivator. And then, like even our, the programs are facilitated by usually sometimes staff. Cornell has facilitated, so definitely experts. And then over the years, we try to get program graduates to become our facilitators as well. So we've had a lot of success at that too. So they'll get compensated for teaching others and sharing what they've learned. So
I got to tell you that if you want to volunteer with Catalyst Miami, she's going to give contact information later on in the podcast. But if you want to volunteer, I think it's a good thing to do, especially if you have that expertise on community advocacy and you want to get involved with the community and you want to actually see change. We do a lot of complaining and offer very few solutions. But Catalyst Miami is leading the way on trying to change that mindset. And not one thing I loved about facilitating is involving those folks who attended, involving those folks in submitting ideas and being a part of the solutions. Because it's easy to complain. That's easy. But can we offer solutions? Can we offer a better idea? Can we bring those folks together? And that's probably one of the hardest things I think that Catalyst does as an organization, right?
Yeah, so when you graduate from the program, you're eligible for funding and technical assistance for a community, like a project that you think will improve your community. So we help you determine what that is. And so that's part of your graduation, actually. And then we also try to bring our graduates through our policy and advocacy work and embed them in the various coalitions that exist across the state that are like pushing policy work. So you and your expertise and your lived experience can inform that as well. And just to share too, we're talking about HEAL, our housing program, but we have a climate justice program, a health justice program, and we're running a program right now that is training community members on how to run for office, like what it takes.
Okay, so
so there's a few offerings, including our worker cooperative.
This is the kind of stuff we're talking about, because you can, as I stated earlier, you can complain all day long. What are you doing about it? Are you just sitting in your 3-bedroom, 2-bath and talking noise about what's going on in the community, or are you out there getting involved? Your climate justice program, and I've stolen several words from Catalyst Miami over the years, including climate justice, climate gentrification, those type of things. When I go throughout the United States and we talk about these things, or I have these meetings with the financial institution presidents, and they always climate gentrification. What is that? But Catalyst Miami came up with that phrase, and we've now it's in the lexicon, I think, of South Florida as we talk about climate justice. So along the climate justice rail, what are you guys doing with that?
Yeah, so climate gentrification, I believe that phrase might have been is coined by Paulette Richards, who is a much loved member of Catalyst Miami, but I can't say the organization coined it. It was definitely Miss Paulette Richards, and that describes the realization that developers see low-lying areas of Miami-Dade County, such as Miami Beach, everything beautiful waterfront, as a threat to sea level rise. And so they're looking at higher elevation communities, which is everything along our railroad, which is everywhere where Jim Crow laws were set in. So Liberty City, Little Haiti, kind of the center ridge of Miami-Dade all the way down. At Catalyst Climate Justice Programs, we primarily focus on two things. One is energy justice. We all are probably if you're a renter, your rent is getting higher and higher every year, and your electric bills are too. So yeah, you've probably noticed your bills going up recently due to Florida Power and Light. So we do a lot of advocacy to get cleaner energy down to Miami, but also or to the whole state of Florida, and then also to make sure that energy is also affordable and that people are not. There's something called an energy burden where anyone who has lower income is paying more of their income on energy bills, not only because you have less income and your bills are high, but also because our housing stock is just so poor here in South Florida that if you don't have like a fancy new apartment that's like super well insulated, essentially, all the cracks in your wall, all the AC is like going out there. So you also like get penalized twice, basically.
How are you evolving? How are you getting the community involved, in particular, low to moderate income folks involved in climate justice?
You'd be surprised like how easy it is. Like I think
Really?
people really understand. You understand when your bill is going up more so than anyone that's super wealthy, right? Because you look at it every month. You feel extreme heat. That's another thing we work on because you're waiting for the bus. You're outside. You might not have a car. Also, the energy bills too, even indoors, or you might be an outdoor worker, for example. And so we have our CLEAR program, which is similar to our HEAL program, but that's our climate justice program as like an inroads. And then we also work really, really closely with the Miami Climate Alliance, who has several working groups that brings together. We have almost 200 organizations and several individuals from throughout Miami-Dade County that are interested in taking action together on climate justice and making our like physical environment a better place to live, and that totally impacts our wallets. So.
Yeah. I've learned a lot from just being involved with Catalyst, especially along the climate justice and climate action area. Just noticing the differences between Coral Gables tree canopy, Liberty City's tree canopy. Just how different it is in the heat index. And one of the things that you might be thinking simple, bus stops, and how some are covered and some aren't, and a lot depends on where they are. It just drives me crazy that I can drive down the street and see a bus stop in the heat of South Florida uncovered. Not to mention that this time of year, 6 months out of the year, it's going to rain every afternoon. We know this. It's a given, and nothing is being done about it with the exception of organizations like Catalyst Miami. So let's move on to one of the things that you guys do really, really well, and that's the days at Tallahassee, and where you actually take community members up to Tallahassee to talk to their legislators, the ones that they voted for that's supposed to be working for them. You actually take those folks up there to talk. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so that program, we renamed it. It's Catalyst to the Capitol.
Ah, cool. Yeah. I like that name. Catchy.
Yeah, catchier name. So yeah, we're actually recruiting for that program right now. So if you are interested, you can apply on our website, which I'll share at the end. But essentially, we take a delegation of Miami-Dade County residents up to Tallahassee, which we know is very far away, every year to speak on issues that really, and bills that are really important to us. And so it's really, I think a lot of folks are giving up on Tallahassee. It's really hard. It feels far away, not only in distance, but in mentality and in the reality. But it's so important that your legislators hear from you, because they're hearing from a lot of corporate interests, and they're hearing from a lot of folks that are speaking for you, and spewing things that definitely aren't true. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard that energy efficiency, so like insulation, is bad for Black people. Literally, like that.
What?
Hold,
back up. Insulation is bad for Black people.
Energy efficiency initiatives, or for low income folks, it's harmful. All of these things, as wild as that. That is like literally the primary narratives. There was another bill on around deposits, when you rent and you put your first and last month deposit. That was it was like a company that was pushing it that has like a product to get rid of deposits, but to do a regular in perpetuity charge with like no limitations to renters. So like, and then to take away any protections we have on deposits, what little that you could actually get it back. This was something you wouldn't get back. So, but the narrative was like first, last, and security is really expensive, which is totally true.
Sure.
But it's really hard when you don't have anyone that like has recently paid first, last, and your security, advocating for maybe some protections on this bill that could just turn out to be, it doesn't say anything that the landlord could switch it 1 month and charge you $1,000 a month, and you don't get it back as your like, it's called a fee in lieu of a security deposit. So that might be a wonky answer, but there's just so many little, like the narrative in Tallahassee, it's really, really wild. And it's just so important that everyday folks are there speaking truth to a lot of the flat out lies or maybe mistruths that you hear constantly. So totally recommend, if you haven't been to Florida's Capitol, it's when we have fun too. So we go out and we party and we dance with our legislators and all of that too. So I really recommend it.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to go a couple of times, and it's getting up there and talking to those elected officials is where the meat is, I think. And Catalyst Miami has done an excellent job of getting folks to the Capitol to talk about the issues that affect them every single day, as we just talked about with climate justice. We just talked about the HEAL program with home ownership, which is a big challenge here in South Florida in particular. So, I wanted to bring something to your attention. National Community Reinvestment Coalition just released a study about 2 weeks ago. In that study, they looked at how long it would take from 2023 to achieve racial wealth equality. How we're going to get there. You know how long it's going to take?
I don't know. It depends, I guess, what actions are being taken, right?
513 years.
That's probably at the current pace of things,
At the current pace of things. It's going to take 513 years to achieve, to close the racial wealth gap. That's what it's going to take. And that is why organizations like Catalyst Miami are so important. Getting that message out. Fighting those people who are fighting closing the racial wealth gap. We actually have people fighting it, regardless of what you may think. And no, it's just a figment of Cornell's imagination, and racism is not there anymore. And no, Cornell, it's only because you keep talking about it. Well, I keep talking about it because it's going to take 513 years to close the racial wealth gap. So organizations like Catalyst Miami bring these type of messages to the community and get the community involved. Have you experienced any problems recruiting people to go to Tallahassee?
Never. We'll have to turn people away.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. That all that does is restore my faith in the community.
We already had 50 applicants like a week ago. So
really?
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. No, and even if you don't live in a low to moderate income area or your workforce, those you need to speak up as well because those things affect you, right?
So actually, we also bring partners. So so the trip is free for most folks, but then if you want to apply as a partner, you pay us some fraction of the cost that it would take you to like go there alone. Plus, we schedule all the meetings, and you can come with us that way as well. So there's a partnership application along with the other applications. So
and along with the community advocacy that Catalyst Miami uses to help the community and to teach the community, you also don't just leave them out there. There are workshops and classes so they know how.
You're trained, yeah.
Okay, because that's important. I mean, when you walk in there to speak to that elected official, whether it's a senator or any type of legislator or even the governor. I know the year I went, we actually had a group that was able to get in and speak with the governor that particular year. Governor Scott was governor then, and you got to be able to articulate what it is that you want to say. It's great to be passionate, but sometimes we can get emotional, right? And then it's lost in the translation. So you guys actually do some training on that.
Yes, yeah, that comes with the program. So before we go on the trip, we do some trainings here at home to make sure you're as prepared as humanly possible. So always some surprises, but we do our best.
Well, there's always, sometimes a surprise is a great thing.
Yeah.
So as you have stepped into the to the CEO of this organization. I know you haven't been there long, but you've been a part of the organization for many years. How's it been for you?
It's been really good. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's an honor to get to lead such an amazing team and an
Mm-hmm.
amazing organization, and I feel really supported. So, yeah, no complaints.
No complaints yet,
No
anyway, right?
complaints yet. I heard I should be complaining.
No, but it's hard to step into an organization, especially when it's been as successful as Catalyst Miami, and just based on the founder's reputation, at all. So it's got to be a big challenge for you, and I know Zelalem can handle it. That's why I said that she was the best choice for this position after Gretchen decided to step down. But if anybody can handle it, you can, Zelalem. So
Thank
I
you.
look forward to working with you and partnering with you. And anything you need from me, all you got to do is shoot me an email and I'm there. So I know you have some things coming up, right? So let's talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a lot of things going on, but I know Cornell I should mention that we have a fundraiser on October 19th. So the tickets are live. It's called Imagine Miami. And so we'd love to see you there. It's going to be at the Lyric Theater.
Great choice.
Food, drinks, learn more about our work for sure, in like a fun and casual way. So yeah, like that's our biggest event coming up on the brink of things.
So I encourage you to be a part of that big event. They have it every year, and it's always perfect. But you'll learn a lot about the organization and what the organization does, and most of all, what I would love to see the people that I would like to see show up is not just the folks from the community, but those folks who are, how can I put this, that a little bit more. Have a little bit more funding than the lower income, right? You're a part of this community too, and your volunteerism, your expertise, your education, your thriving for a better community is definitely needed. And if you want it to volunteer with Catalyst Miami is a true blessing that you'll never forget, and you'll enjoy dealing with the folks that are there. Zelalem is leading a great team. They're doing some great work. As you look around and you see the issues that we face, it's not that it's never ending. But do you see an end in sight?
Yeah, I think back to the last 7 years, and I was working specifically on climate justice. And when I came to Miami, the year before I came to Miami, there were $0 invested in the issue by the county. And fast forward to today, it's like a multi-million-dollar department that is working in deep partnership with community organizations. And so just seeing, like, sometimes when things get really frustrating, I reflect on the difference that I've seen, and that's just one simple example. And I know that it's possible for some of the stuff we're talking about today, like the worker cooperatives that seem like super innovative and new, like it's more than possible for that to become the norm in Miami, like a normal option for small business owners, or that a lot of the things that we talk about is something called participatory democracy, which is basically that our governments would actually automatically ask community members what they think about the issues that impact them the most.
I love that.
And Cornell and I work a lot on that, and the idea, I could totally see that becoming the norm. We do it in small ways. We get pushed back, but then we make leaps forward and demonstrations of how that could work, and I could see that being the norm. And I think when people are consulted, we only come up with like solutions that work better for everyone, and we have a very diverse community, so I think that's really important.
I totally agree with you. I think I wish that the elected officials would do that a whole lot more, and I love that you're going to be pushing that as a the norm. Make it the norm. Okay, we got a big decision coming up about the county. Let's hear what the people who live here have to say about it.
Yeah.
Before we approve this $300 million of development that's going to be in a place that's going to be underwater in 30 years, let's see what the community has to say. I like that. I like that.
Can I share one more norm? Because I
Sure.
heard you mention it on a call yesterday, and I was thinking the same thing. So I think like the last thing I really see and that we're working towards is that I think people in Florida and in South Florida like really need to believe that they can do anything here. And I think that comes with winning, winning
Sure.
on the things that really matter to us and really celebrating those wins and as they come. And then it also comes with challenging ourselves not to be apathetic and not to be the butt of a joke, whether we make that joke or others do as well, which I remember you mentioned on a call earlier this week. And I think that narrative about Florida as being hopeless or that should be like sawed off by Bugs Bunny into the ocean
we get that a lot.
That's not it's not helpful, and it's totally not true. We're one country, and like everywhere matters, especially the South. So yeah.
I think you're part of changing the dynamic, especially as far as your community advocacy and community advocacy training is concerned. I think you're a big part of changing that narrative that, okay, yeah, we have beaches and we have fun and we're a party destination and a tourist destination. However, we have a lot of issues that go on here that have to be addressed, and we are addressing them, and we got folks who are interested in addressing them and solving those problems. Like I said before, we could complain all day long, but let's have some resolutions. Let's offer some resolutions as well. So my last and final question. I woke up this morning and I gave you all the power in the world. Okay, you could change anything you want or work on anything you want. What would that be?
Honestly, for right now, I think the housing affordability issue in Miami is the one that breaks my heart the most because I have a lot of friends, either through the work that we do, personal friends that are being forced out of South Florida. And I totally believe in like the wisdom and expertise of our community members. So it breaks my heart to see people having to leave because we lose their insights and their power, and they're so critical to our community. So I think that takes a lot of political courage. Developers have had a strong hold on Miami-Dade County ever since there were many attempts to pave over the Everglades to build this place.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's a kind of a perpetual and really deeply rooted issue, but it's one that takes political courage. And yeah, so that's like the biggest thing for me right now.
I mean, Zelalem, you just said something very, very important, and that's folks leaving the area because housing affordability, they can't afford it. And most of all, I think what bothers me with that is I don't want to see any young people leaving. We need young people like Zelalem here, taking up the mantle and voicing their opinion and doing it a better and doing it not a better way, but doing it, they have the ability to reach more people because they understand social media and all that stuff. I can play around on Facebook, but the young generation or the younger folks that are in our area understand social media and the power of it so much more than I do. And not that I don't want to learn, don't get me wrong, but they just know how to. They know how to do it better, and I think we can't afford to lose them. We cannot afford to lose them, and that's what's leaving. The folks who are the younger folks in our area, as well as those folks who are just sick and tired of paying so much money in order to live in an area. It just doesn't make sense. Our inflation rate in Miami-Dade County, in South Florida in particular, runs about 9.2%. Nationwide, it's 6% and falling. Here, it's 9.2% and rising. We can continue this. We can't continue living like this, and we can't continue to price out the people who make the difference here in South Florida. We just can't continue it. I'm really glad for all the work that Catalyst Miami is doing. Remember, if you want to volunteer, please reach out. But she's going to give her contact information right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can check out our website, catalystmiami.org. You can email us info@catalystmiami.org. And you can find us on social media at Catalyst Miami.
So you have no excuses. She just gave you all the ways in order for you to volunteer, all the ways for you to get involved, and not just those folks who are being walked on constantly, but everyone needs to get involved in order to build a better Miami, a better South Florida, a better state of Florida. We all have to get involved. We all have to let our voices be heard. So thank you very much, Zelalem, for participating in the Just Economy podcast. We greatly appreciate you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Please remember, check out catalystmiami.org. Learn more about Catalyst Miami and how you can help. Thanks again. This has been the Just Economy podcast, building Florida's just economy $1, 1 vote at a time. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.